Alright, what's up, y'all? I'm Ryan. This is Trezian Racing. Good evening. I'm heading over to my buddy Mike Walco's house. He's a fellow racer of mine. He's a guy I built the gear for a couple videos ago. And I'm going over to his house. If you guys can hear all that rattling back there, I got all my springs in the back, my coil springs. I'm planning on going and using his spring tester. He's got a spring checker there. And I'm going to test all these springs out and see where they're at. I haven't really gone over the car yet, but you guys are about to see that in a little bit. I did notice that the right front shock broke the mount off the bottom control arm, just from the rough track. So that's definitely something I'm going to have to fix. Or I think I'm going to be putting some different control arms on the car before next race. So that'll make it easy to do. But yeah, I'm gonna get there, test all these springs out, and I'll show you guys the results. I'm assuming I might find a couple springs that might be off a little bit. So we're gonna go ahead and see how it all works out, and I'll check back in a little bit. So you ready for the Daytona 500 or what? Alright guys, so I'm here at my buddy Mike Walco's house, and he's letting me borrow his spring compressor. So I'm checking all my springs, seeing what they all check out at. Really kind of him to let me borrow this. He lives down the street from me, so it wasn't too far to go. So I'm going to check all these things and see exactly where they're at, and I'll check back later with my results. Alright, so I'm putting together this hose reel here from Harbor Freight. It comes disassembled, so I gotta assemble it. Just trying to get my little area over here cleaned up a little better, get the hose off the ground and stuff, so it'll be kind of nice once it's all done. Just gotta put a couple more screws in, tighten it down, and should be ready to mount. Man, I swear, it's got to be about 80 degrees outside right now, and I believe it's March 1st. So this is going to be either a really late spring or a really early summer and a really hot summer. So we'll see. All my grass is already dead, and I'm starting to see a bunch of pollen and yellow all over the fields out here, which means my allergies are about to be crazy. Got the MSD box all fixed up. Went ahead and put that connector back on, soldered all the wires, heat shrunk it, so that's ready to go back to my buddy Johnny. Let me show you guys what I got here. I ended up getting a pretty good deal on all these rims, and those tires came with it, even though they're pretty much just junk G60s. But yeah, I got a real good deal on all these. Most of them are bead locks, and there's a couple that are missing some bead rings, but I have a couple extras sitting in the shop that I think I can use with them. But a lot of these are in real good shape. Some of them look like they're almost brand new. So you got to balance on these things once you find a good deal. You know, you have to buy them in bulk most of the time, but this would be nice to get some spares and stuff set up. And then I'll show you guys what I'm talking about over here. The results on the springs I was running, or I had, and I went ahead and put them in my neighbor's spring tester. And checked them all out. So, for the most part, surprisingly, they're all pretty accurate. You know, they're within 10, 15 pounds of what they're rated at. What did surprise me is I had this one right here, this little short guy, and that's an 800-pound spring. And I realized it was shorter than the rest. I don't know why, but now, after testing it out and Mike my buddy Mike told me that, you know, if you cut a link out, it's going to take the spring rate and jack it up. So this was an 800-pound spring. It's stamped 800 pounds, and it came out at 850. So that was kind of interesting. But everything else is pretty close. When I started getting into the rear springs, some of the really lightweight springs, I don't think I got a really accurate reading on it, because on the Spring Smasher, the gauge, it has like a little preload section. You're supposed to like kind of zero it out. And that preload section, you got to smash the spring a certain amount to get to that zero line. And obviously, you know, if you got a heavier spring, like a front spring, like a 900 or an 800 or 1000 or something, it's gonna compress the spring a whole lot less to get to that 0 point. And on some of these really lightweight springs, you got to compress the spring sometimes like almost an inch just to get it zeroed out. So I'm not sure if I was really testing it right, and some of the numbers are a little bit higher, which would make sense to me. But yeah, they're all pretty much accurate. There was a couple that I found interesting. So this is a 200 right here, and this one here is a 225. And this one came out at a 241, and then a 225 came out at 246. There's only a 5-pound split between the two, and there's supposed to be, you know, 25-pound split between them. So just interesting. I'm glad I did it. Now I can just put them on the shelf and know exactly what they're at. I'm going to end up putting some different springs in the front now, because I did have that 800 in there in the left front, and I thought it was the 800, so I was like, okay, cool. But now that it's the 850, it's kind of throwing me off a little bit, so I'm going to have to get a couple different springs for the front, and I'm going to keep everything the same in the back for now. But I got to get my hands on number one, those two springs, and I got to get some other control arms. But let me show you guys here what I'm talking about with the, get a flashlight. With my right front shock that broke off. This will work. So, let's see if I can turn this thing on. There we go. So if you guys see right here, okay, I had to get a better angle on this thing. So down here, at the bottom of the shock is, you can see the bolt still in it, and this right here is half of the shock mount down here that broke off from the rough track. So I'm going to replace the control arm, so I'm not going to have to worry about reusing that at all, but just thought I should show you guys that. Yeah, this thing's taken a beating over the course of my racing career, so every off season I kind of have to push this thing down, put a quarter power between the upper roll bar here and there and squash it down. And then last year I did weld this little plate on right here to straighten it out, give it a little more strength. But as you can see, it's already been beat up pretty well. So I'm gonna have to do that again one of these days. Just straighten it back out. I do lose some ride height over the season just from it getting beat up, you know, on the rough tracks, and if I ever get in a fender bender or something. So anyways, I'm gonna keep on grinding here. Okay, so went over the car a little more, and I found out that I have a transmission leak. It's leaking just about out of everywhere. Tail shaft, side cover, and somewhere in the front. Let me show you guys this. I don't know if you can see, but there's 3 spots down there on the concrete that's been leaking just sitting here the last couple days. So I probably should have gone ahead and replaced those seals when I had the transmission out before I put it in. I already had all the seals and stuff, but I just wanted to see what I had first before I went ahead and replaced stuff that might not need to be replaced. So whatever, I'll have to pull this thing out one of these days again and go through it, put all the seals in. Probably won't be anytime soon. I also pulled a whole bunch of mud out of the frame rail, if you can believe it. Most of this stuff actually came out of in here, and this right side frame rail. There's a big old hole down here. I don't know if I can make this a little better for you guys. There's a big old hole down here in the frame, and then obviously there's this one, and there's a couple other ones around here. So what I'm fixing to do is I'm gonna go ahead and find some small gauge steel and start welding these holes up so I don't get as much mud in there, because that's got to be, you know, at least 10 pounds or so right there. anyways, I'm gonna get going on that. I'm also fixing on taking this carburetor off and going ahead and messing with it some. I'm gonna go ahead and look at all the floats and stuff real carefully. I just had one of my friends here, Dalton, Jewel, and he was telling me that he had a float one time that had a pinhole in it. So I'm just gonna check all that stuff, go over it with a fine tooth comb, see if I can figure out what's going on and why it's stumbling in the corner so bad. I also got a line on some control arms. So this Friday, I gotta go to a junkyard, a local junkyard, and pull some control arms off a car that I need. It's one of those junkyards where you gotta bring all your tools and stuff and pull the parts off yourself, but it sounds like I'm gonna have a pretty good deal on it, and they're the ones I need. So that'll be my project on Friday. And I also picked up some springs here. So this is the pair I'm gonna put in the front. I got 3 springs from my friend Kenny Swank. Kenny's a real nice guy. He's given me about, I don't know, 8 or 10 springs over the last 4 years or so when I've been racing, and he always gave me a real good deal on them, and some of them he gave me for free. So really appreciate him always coming in and finding the springs I need, because I've done a lot of testing and stuff on the car and putting different springs in to see how it feels. So I'm always tuning on it, and I really appreciate a guy like that always having springs available. So I also did some more tuning on the back here. I moved some weight around. So I'm gonna go ahead and put everything back together, and like I said, go through the carb. And then this Saturday, Antioch Speedway is having a practice, test, and tune day. So I'm gonna plan on making that. It'd be nice to kind of figure out if I got this stuff fixed and whatnot. And also I'm gonna be interested to see how that track is. They've been doing a lot of changes there. They went through some different promoter changes this off season, so it'll be good to go there and see how the track's doing and everything. From what I've heard, it's always been really positive stuff coming right now. So that's my plan for this week. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make another video on the control arms, getting the carb all situated and fixed up, and the whole practice day in a different video. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Go ahead and like and share this video, and we'll see you in the next couple days for some testing and tuning. See you next time.